What's good, everybody? It's your boy Piston Mike. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't cost you anything, not even a nickel or dime. Make sure you get this t-shirt in the link in the description. Shout out to Alex for always keeping me updated. I ain't did this in a minute. I haven't did this in a while. We are here. We're going to be talking about NBA draft prospects with my favorite guy, my boy Steve. It's been a minute. Make sure you go check him at DetroitBadBoys.com. Go check out his articles. He did, I think, three different um, draft prospects, what to look out for, and three different types, whether the Pistons end up 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, and 16 to 20. So you guys make sure you go check him out where he's going to be joining me today. So yeah. Do do do. Good. It's been a minute, Steve. How you doing?
I'm good, man. You?
Man, I'm good. Just working, like always, working, man. Um,
Same, man.
yeah, but as again, like I said, make sure you go check out his articles. We're gonna talk about it at DetroitBadBoys.com. Am I right?
Yeah, and I'll be doing stuff with Woodward Pistons this season too, as well. So check that out. Keep on the lookout.
Okay, so no further less, let's get into it. So the most interesting thing I necessarily want to talk about is I seen in your 1 through 5 you put Nick Smith at 5. You would like the Pistons to take Nick Smith if we ended up 5?
Yeah, for sure. The guy that I talked about in that Detroit Bad Boys article was Tyrese Halliburton.
Mm.
While Nick Smith's more of a scorer and Halliburton's more of like a playmaker, they are pretty similar type players in that their jump shot is the main thing that gets them points. They get super easy assists like all the time. If you watch them, like I think he averaged something like 8.5 assists, something like that in his senior year. And if you watched any of the Arkansas European stuff, like he's clearly their number one scorer. So he just has a lot of nice complementary things to Cade. And I think too, like Cade would be the one driving in, taking those mid rangers. And if we do have like a Tyrese Halliburton type of scorer who, number one, has a good jump shot to keep Cade, keep defenses off Cade, give him that spacing, that's great. And then my biggest thing with him is the defense. Defensively, he is fantastic. Like there are so many times where he picks up guys full court without even being prompted. Like it's not a thing that's called for. He just wants to do that. Like if you could allow somebody to pick up a defender like the minute they get out of the locker room, I'm pretty sure Nick Smith would do that. He's really, really good on defense too. So that's some technique work and stuff to like hammer out, but it's just really rare that you see these five-star guys that want to get after a defense like that for 40 some odd minutes. So,
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's definitely an interesting prospect, a prospect that everybody should keep an eye on. Because I got a feeling we're going to be in the range. He definitely gets drafted, so I don't think it's really far fetched either. But out of all the prospects you did your research on, and out of everybody, who is your favorite prospect? If you were Troy Weaver, who are you keying in on the Pistons to draft next year?
well, I mean, outside of Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, of course, because I think that's like but they should be 1 and 2 no matter what. Like Wembanyama is like he can do some things like KD at 7'5" ish. He said he's 7'3" without shoes, so with shoes on, he's probably like 7'4.5", something like that. Yeah, I mean, he's got to be number one. He can do everything that can on defense. He actually can create offense too as well. So, like, yeah, he's number one. Scoot also too, like he shot. So I did the numbers in that article again. He shot like 48, 49% on pull-up jumpers, which again is super rare for a 17-year-old kid in the G League doing this against grown men. He had a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Again, like how do you do that is when you're supposed to be this is a kid who's supposed to be like going to prom and stuff, but no, he was putting in work in the G League. Obviously, that has to work at a 3-point shot, but those two, yeah, definitely if they get the first or second pick, no doubt. At 3, it starts to become like a race for a bunch of different guys. And as I said it in the comments there at Detroit Bad Boys, so if you didn't catch it, the race for number 3 is going to be really interesting. And my thought is pretty much anybody that I rated from number 3 to number 11, I would be completely happy with the Pistons taking. So that, for me, that would be Dariq Whitehead, Cam Whitmore, Keontae George, Nick Smith, Jarris Walker, Cason Wallace, Gigi Jackson, Amen Thompson, and Asar Thompson, and then Brandon Miller as well. I think any of those guys could be in the running for pick number 3 because they all have different traits that make them this, like, either potential number 1 scorer, like a Keontae George, or they're like super athletic and can be. I hate to use the word Giannis, but Giannis is the only one I could think of where, like, it doesn't even matter if they shoot because they do so many different things and they're incredibly athletic, like an Amen and an Asar Thompson. Like, I've been critical of their shooting, but especially with Amen, if he gets to the free throw line as much as he looks like he can and he keeps hitting free throws, the shooting does not really matter much because everything else will iron itself out, and how good and versatile he is on defense. And his playmaking, like, he does so many other things. The shooting will just be kind of like the cherry on top, like it is with Giannis. Again, not saying they're the same player, but they have that level. They both have like a level of impact to where shooting doesn't need to come. It doesn't need to be there as much as it would be for other people. But I mean, right now, if I had to like pick one guy out of the bunch and to keep it realistic of like where the Pistons are probably picking, which is probably like 5 to 9, somewhere in there if I had to guess, I would say Gigi Jackson, just because I think he's the best balance of everything that the team would want, which is number 1, an athletic wing. While Gigi's not a wing, he is an athletic forward. So he is going to be like a lob threat. He's super explosive, looks to dunk everything. He has a lot of work to do on defense because he is kind of one of those guys that bites on all kinds of fakes and everything. But he puts in the work on defense. He wants to do good on that end. It's just a matter of like keeping your fundamentals, not biting on as many fakes as he does, being able to slide speed a little bit more. Looks like he has a pretty good three-point stroke as well. And again, explosive. Can put the ball on the deck and run in transition, so it's a nice complement with Ivy. And 6'9", 215, I believe, is what he's listed at now. So again, another nice, big, explosive dude. I'd say he starts off, he's kind of like John Collins if John Collins cared more about defense. So I think that's a nice addition. And the Kate needs more lob threats, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I definitely like Gigi Jackson. I think he has a lot of pressure on, but I think he's going to rise to it because he did decommit from North Carolina and went to go play at South Carolina. He probably is going to be like their major go-to scorer, so I'm ready to see if he can handle it. He's pretty young, too. I believe he won't be 19 until around the draft, so he is one of them young players, but he's definitely got all the tools. He's great. But another question I really want to ask you about is the Pistons are interested in usually running 3-guard lineup. And out of all of them guards that they got, I mean, out of all the guards that's in the 2023 NBA draft, is there one guard in particular you think who can play with Cade and Ivy and start with them, or no?
Yeah, it's Keontae George because he can be that like off-ball dude that just puts up shots. He's not a very good playmaker right now. That's going to be the main thing to look at. So he wouldn't necessarily need the ball in his hands. It's hard to like. I don't want to give comps now because it's just like too unfair. But I think since they haven't played like a full season yet at this new level, but everybody raves about the jump shot. Number 1, everybody says jump shot is, pretty. It's one of the best they've ever seen. So Bradley Beal comps are going to come because he's 6'4" and like 195, like pretty much around that same size. And he can do that both of like on ball, put him up, off ball, put him up. And even with Bradley Beal now, like you look at him and yeah, he's a great scorer. Like he's obviously putting up like 30 a game, right? But he would be much better if he had somebody like a level above him to go along with him, like LeBron, KD, Giannis, somebody like that. So I think that type of player, that type of like just massive jump shooter that not only can get up a lot of them, but knock them down and be super efficient would be fantastic in between Cade, who's, like the maestro. He can do whatever, play make, mid-range, get to the rim, put up threes, all that stuff, off ball, on ball, great. Ivy, who's more of the get to the rim, draw contact, get fouls. Keontae can continue to space out for them and also provide another like ball handling threat that is a three-level scorer as well too. He can get to the rim. He can put it up in mid-range and will be a deadly three-point shooter.
Um, I agree. I like him. I like his game a lot. He doesn't really remind me of Bradley Beal. He kind of reminds me of Eric Gordon. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's the body type. I don't know if it's the way his jumper looks, but that's what he kind of remind me of.
that's a
Which
better one actually now because yeah, he was a man. He was a monster coming out of Indiana too. If anybody remembers L.A. Clipper Eric Gordon, yeah, that's actually a better one. I'm gonna have to steal that if you don't mind.
no, I don't mind at all. That's what he reminds me of, which is not bad at all. And he's still
Oh
in
yeah,
the league. He's still putting up buckets, so I wouldn't mind getting compared to
yeah, and
him.
if he didn't get hurt either, he probably would be up there with like the best in the league for sure, no doubt.
Mm. I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple players that interest me. It's kind of weird for me to say this, but I it's because I'm kind of iffy about his jump shot. But he was a five-star athlete in both in high school and football and basketball in high school. I wonder if Anthony Black will work in a two-star lineup.
I love Anthony Black. Like I said in the piece, he reminds me a little bit of Lonzo and like the lost. He's like the lost ball brother, just
Mhm.
because the way he passes the ball and like every time he steps out, he's the floor general, right? But
Mhm.
scoring, it just I don't know. The jump shot's got a long way to go. He's not looking to score all the time. He's definitely more of the like I said, he's definitely the demarcation line for me of guys that profile as leading scorers versus guys that can be like Tayshaun, which is the highest praise for me of like that fifth starter that just fills in all of your gaps. I always call him the mortar player because if you're laying down like a brick wall, you need that mortar to fill it in and create the actual wall that fills together. I think he can be that. It's just, yeah, I don't know how the scoring is going to work and it might take a while.
Mhm.
He kind of is a little bit like Dalen Terry last year. If anybody remembers Dalen Terry's profile, where
Oh
he
yeah.
was very good, great defender, but again, he didn't look to score a lot. He was just more of the fifth starter to make sure that defense and holes were covered up. He would hit open shots when he's there, but Anthony Black, I think, has more question marks on that part of like being able to hit open shots. Can he do anything in the mid range? Is he going to get to the rim and score? And we'll see how it is with him and Nick Smith. Like I imagine Nick Smith's going to get the bulk of the offense just because that's what they've been doing all summer too. Nick Smith led them in scoring on that European tour. And then there's Devontae Davis, I believe, who's the other guard that's still there at Arkansas. He's also going to get a lot of shine. So I imagine Black is still going to continue that role of like, I'm going to play make, get open shots, play some really good defense, and then we'll see where it's from there. Because in that European tour, or not European tour, excuse me, he played FIBA, that U18 America's Cup. And in that one, he did have really impressive stats. Like he led that whole under 18 in rebounding and blocks, and then he tied the lead with assists with Mark Armstrong, who's over at Villanova. And it's impressive because Khalil Ware and Gigi Jackson were both on that U18 team. So for him to lead them in rebounds and blocks, like again, that just shows the level of defender and the level of commitment he has as he's guarding many point guards there. You cannot underestimate all the little things that he does.
Mm. Um, one guy, my favorite probably if I had to pick for the Pistons, it's my guy. I love um I love Cam. I love Cam Whitmore. I love their aggressiveness. I know the shot is a work in progress. It's kind of wild, but that dunking, that athlete, I think that will go well with our dynamic. I think he could start next to Bay. He's definitely got that body type, that NBA. I like him. But the thing that kind of worries me, he's recovering from a thumb injury right now. I just
Yeah.
hope he's not one of them players who's injury prone, but I definitely like him. But there's a couple of sleepers that I really like. I was interested in what are your sleepers for the Pistons?
Well, do you want like sleepers like they're not taught, they're talking about them a little bit, or like you want sleepers like nobody's talking about these guys?
They could be both. It don't matter, bro.
Well, in terms of like guys that could legitimately get in the first round and maybe sneak up into the lottery, I think Rayan Rupert and CD Sissoko. Rupert is playing for the New Zealand Breakers. Like you can go follow Cashapp on YouTube, and he's got most of his games there. He's like 6'6", 180-ish. Nobody lists his weight, which is kind of worrisome. He looks springy, but this guy is a wing who has a 7'3" wingspan. So like that's something that sets him apart from everybody. He played really good defense for his French team last year, but he was playing in like the third league there, so not great competition. Now he's with the New Zealand Breakers over there in the NBL, which is where LaMelo Ball played, which is where what's his name? The guy plays for the Magic now. RJ Hampton played, Josh Giddey, so it has a nice track record of development. And he's looked good, like he's looked more comfortable putting up shots. Not exactly like the best percentages yet, but again, to me, it's more when I think of development, I think of like Giannis. Like Giannis doesn't care if they go in, and if you watch his development, like it didn't track great in terms of like percentages and like doing one thing, but he understood it was again about development. The only way I'm going to get better at this is if I do it live in a game. And like right now, I'm not great at it, but this is going to help me get better at it. And I think he's shown so far in like 5 or 6 games that I'm going to remain aggressive. I understand like I got to put up these shots that I'm hoping I need to handle more on ball reps and stuff to improve my draft stock. I think there's just a lot to like there in terms of both the physical profile and like what he's shown on the court too. At the very minimum, like with that wingspan, 7'3", one thing you cannot teach good starting tools for 3D. And then CD Sissoko too, about the same, like 6'6", 200, another like 3D guy that's going to be on the G League Ignite team with Scoot. So he'll be in a good environment to show his basic 3D skills. Another younger guy to look at there. So I think he's a nice one. I'll give you two of like, because I have a list of 17 guys nobody is really talking about. One that that Ashton, the trainer, actually, Cade's trainer and Cade's cousin, put me onto is Kaodorichi Akabundu Yuhu from Memphis. He transferred from UT Arlington to Memphis. He was at junior college before then, so he's a little bit older, but he's a power forward center, 6'9". They list him at 215. This guy's a 47-inch vertical. You look at the numbers, they don't look fantastic, but you watch him play and you see the defensive versatility to be able to switch. That vertical shows itself all the time. Like he catches blobs like nobody's business. You can just throw it up there and it's never too high for him. Again, I don't know if he'll get drafted, but just with his athleticism and that size, he's worth taking a look at. And I think his Mavs draft or draft dummies, I forget which one, they brought him up a couple times in their thing. The other one is here at the University of Arizona. Somebody, international guy who hasn't been talked about enough is Filip Borovichinin. He's 6'8", like 200-ish pound wing guard. Serbian kid who played over in EuroLeague before coming here, so he's had that development time in a professional setting. Good shooter, good passer, like another nice, really all-around skill set that I think just works in the NBA game. Again, don't really have like a comparison for him. Just to say he's somebody to keep an eye out on. I think he'll probably get into the rotation this year, just because they are lacking somebody with that wing size. And again, his passing ability and his shooting, that combination is just hard to pass up at that size. Like it's 6'8", about 200 pounds. Really good basketball IQ guy. I don't know if you've heard of Nikola Duricic. The way people talk about Duricic, Borovichinin like does the same type of things too, but he's just under the radar a little bit more. I actually think he's a little bit better of a ball handler and slightly ahead in terms of like fluidity and being an athlete as well.
Interesting. Well, I agree. I'm gonna give you some in my list. You can agree or disagree as usual. Um, Number one, I just found him out not that long ago. He's gonna play at Alabama. He is a 6'10" power forward. I think he was a 4-star recruit. I think his name is Noah Clowney.
Yeah.
Or Yeah, and he's been absolute tearing it up on that foreign tour. They've been talking about him like he's ready to perform. He's been one of the top leading scorers for Alabama. Alabama got a couple of them. They also got that dude Brandon Miller who looked
Yeah,
like he
Brandon
could
Miller's
be
a bucket
nice.
man. He led their whole team in scoring that whole thing, which is no small feat because they have a lot of returners. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I like there's a couple of them guys from Alabama I really like. Another guy, I think his name, you even brought him up to me. He played at Houston. He's Terrence. I don't know how to say.
Arsenal.
Hmm. The the wing looked like he could do a little bit of all, a little bit of self creation, could dribble, shoot. The athletic, that typical wing that everybody looking at. There's another one in Tennessee. His name is Julian Phillips. He's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
similar size and stuff. That them are the guys that I really like. And if we talking about returners, a guy that I think is going to have a big year, who's going to have a breakout year. He plays at Florida State. He's a junior. I like Clam Fletcher. I think he's going to have a big year. His last 20 games, I believe he's averaged about 13 points and about 6 boards a game for him. So I like Cam Fletcher a lot. Typical wing, super athletic. Shows it all on the defensive end. Jumper still look like it can be a work in progress, but it seemed like on the foreign tour he was knocking down more threes and working on that. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that whole list. Clowney's the one I don't know that much about, but when I was watching, um, like I was just watching practice today from the open practice stuff with Alabama because he brought up the name,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like he was running with Brandon Miller and a couple of starters. And like you said, he did show out on the European tour, so it seems like they need him, and they need another big man, and he looks like he knows what he's doing down there. So yeah, definitely an eye to keep somebody to keep an eye out on. Arsenal is interesting. Like I said in the article.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me a little bit of Josh Hart because like Josh Hart's one of those he's a guard, but he like rebounds a bunch and he does kind of like non-guard things at times. Arsenault averaged 4 blocks per game as a senior in high school, and they won the state title, so which is their second state title. Um, it's just odd to see a guard do that. And when you watch film on him too, he's kind of in this weird like rim protector type role sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He had to play center just because there aren't that many tall guys. Then it just reminded me of Josh Hart, who does like these things that you don't typically see a guard do because he does have that understanding and that skill and the grit to do things like rebound like a big man, or in Arson's case, block like a big man. So, yeah, for sure. And yeah, Cameron, hopefully we'll see him do a little bit more. It's always hard because Florida State runs like 10 to 12 guys every year,
Mm-hmm.
depending on who they do. I love Leonard Miller, but they definitely have a track record too now, churning out guys that do good in the league. So I think that always bodes well, right?
They always got so many. And over the last, I think I did a video on it. Over the last, like I want to say 6 or 7 years, they had guys like what's his name, Malik Beasley. You got Patrick Williams. I'm forgetting the list, but it's
Scotty
so
Barnes,
yeah.
yeah,
You have so many guys that's in between that 6'5" and like 6'9", who all are like NBA ready wings and ready to play. They just develop them really well. I don't know what it is, but they know how to
yeah,
develop them. So
yeah. Baba Miller's the other guy there now. He's like
yeah,
7'1", like 205, something like that. Yeah, in that same mold of like Scotty and Patrick Williams and stuff. So we'll see. He might take a little bit longer though, because he's like, I don't really, I like him, but I don't really know what to say about him yet because I don't really know what his role is or like what his definitive skill is, other than being super fluid and super athletic for being so tall and lanky.
yeah. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, I got a few guards that I kind of like. Also as well that I don't think nobody talking about. I don't know if they go in the first round. If so, it'd be late second round. I like this dude. I think he's from the DMV area. His name is Judah Mintz. He'll be a
Oh
freshman.
yeah,
Yeah, Syracuse. He's a nice combo guard, little athletic. shoots mostly mid-range. He'll look like he's working on the three, really plays good defense. I love me some Judah Mintz, man. I think he's going to be nice.
Yeah, I think he'll be good too. The only thing is he went to Syracuse. They haven't had a one and done in a while, so that might be well, like it's up to the kid, up to the prospect, obviously, to do it when there's that much of a track record of like they don't do that. Maybe like part of the commitment to the program is like you have to stay more than 1 year. And again, it's not to say that's going to happen, but that's the only thing with him. I think that I'm not sure like if he'll come right out just because we haven't seen somebody from Syracuse do one and done since maybe Mello. Like I really would have maybe because Deion Waiters was there 2 years. I think he might be the last high-profile Syracuse I could think of. But yeah, I remember watching a lot of Chris Livingston film because they were teammates at Oak Hill, and like Judah Mintz always showed out on the film. Man, he's a good, underrated ball handler and a really good shooter.
Yeah, for sure. Another guy that you just brought up, oh man, if he can put it all together at Kentucky, I'm gonna be watching him, and I'm gonna be watching Casey Wallace. They're gonna be a nightmare to play. Oh my God, that defensive tandem they about to
Oh
have.
yeah. Yeah, there's three guys from that Kentucky team I think that are going to get drafted. Those two, and then Damian Collins. Damian Collins, super lanky, 6'9", like 200, 210. He looks like a string bean, but man, he can jump out of the gym, and he's really good defensively. Just what is he on offense? We'll see. And then, yeah, Livingston. I buy in the shot. I was just watching the Big Blue Madness where they did the three-point contest, and he was in it. He hit like 13, 15 shots, and it looks good. It just looks like he needs to speed up a little bit more. He's a little bit like A.J. Griffin was last year, where he's this 6'6", 220 big dude that you expect to just go to the rack, but the jump shot's a little bit better than you think of. And I'm like we've said before, Kentucky guys, the cow clamps, like they always show out in the league. It's hard. At this point, if you bet against them, I don't know what you're thinking. Casey Wallace, again, to me, very much reminiscent of Drew Holiday. And everything that he does, from playmate to defense, like he just wants to mess your shit up, man. Like, yeah, I love Casey Wallace. Can't say enough good about it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We did end up getting that would be an interesting 3-guard lineup, man. That would. That definitely would. I would buy into that, but I don't really know. I don't really think I got any more questions for you, Steve. I think that's about all. Wrap it up. So nice chopping up. Hopefully we'll chop it up again soon. I appreciate it. Make sure you go like his articles, man. Go share them articles. He's going to be not only on DetroitBadBoys.com, he's working with Woodward's Piston. You're going to see Steve everywhere, man. He's everywhere. He's the guy.
Yeah. I'm trying to get there, man. Trying to get there. Appreciate always chopping it up with you. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking more especially as the college season gets going. Wednesday night, finally, opening night is here. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, everybody stays healthy.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping we get some guys back. We need Burks back. We need Noel back, please. We need some more of them vets to come back, please. I am not trying to get destroyed by the Magic, but Cade, I'm gonna be real with you. You're gonna have to give Paolo the work. You hear me? You gotta show him who the real number one is.
Oh, I'm sure he will. I'm sure, like, Paulo don't want no ISO on defense or anything, man.
Yeah. But, all right, Steve, I'm going to let you go. Have a good one. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe to me also. But go check out Steve. He'll break down everything analytically. I messed up on that word. Sorry, but you know what I mean. But y'all enjoy. Y'all going to see more of Steve on my channel. Make sure y'all go check him out.